Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Thrive State Podcast. I am your host, Dr. V, triple board certified MD and performance and longevity expert. And on today's podcast, I'm going to give you one hack that will be ultimately one of the best things you can do to access longevity, peak performance, and up-level your human potential. So stick around. It's going to be a very, very simple hack, a little simple mind shift, a simple energetic shift so that you can deliver the messages to your DNA to give you more health, more happiness, and more of your potential. Hi, welcome into the Thrive State Podcast. Today is a very special day and there is no script. I am just going to wing this one. Today, July 7th, is my birthday. So happy birthday to me, and thank you for being a part of the show and for experiencing this with me. And on today's podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about being able to reset, a rebirth, this birthday, and what we could do moment to moment to reset our nervous system, to reset our energy. Because if you've been following this podcast at all, you know that our energetic state, how we feel, who we are, ultimately becomes the biochemistry that turns genes on, turns genes off, and that creates our biology, but also creates our reality. Who we are is how we connect with the people in our lives, our spouses, our children, the people that we work with, our parents. And so what energy are we stepping in from that? And today I'm going to give you a biohack to access that energy so that you can also have access to more health, more happiness, and more human potential. And so, every week I have an opportunity to bring in thought leaders from the biohacking space, the longevity space, and the human potential space to really kind of give you the tools, the techniques, the mindsets for you to elevate your life. And why do I want this for you? I want this for you because, I've lived unconsciously for nearly 4 decades of my life before I started to wake up to this energy. Living unconsciously led me to get chronic disease in my body. If you don't know my story, I was overweight, I was diabetic, I had high blood pressure. And that dis-ease is basically how I got disease. That dis-ease of not living life, feeling like I was enough and constantly striving for the next thing. I became the poster child of a Dalai Lama quote when he was asked what he found most interesting about humanity. He said, man, because he would sacrifice his health in order to make money and then sacrifice his money to recuperate his health. So waking up to the beauty of life, waking up to the true me, being able to live as the true me, being able to step into this beautiful energy that I feel now is awesome. And not only does this feeling allow me to have better health, but the success that I have in my relationships, in my career, all that is so much better. And when I connect with people who have done similar work and have gone through similar journeys, I can see them lit up as well. And so my honest wish for you is for you to just be able to see the beauty and the love that is you, to be able to feel it on a day-to-day basis, because I know in your Thrive state, you will serve your community. You will serve the people that are around you. You will be such a magnet for life. I want my children interacting with those people. I want my colleagues and my friends to be interacting with those people so we could lift up the world with people basically knowing their worth, people knowing just how beautiful life is. Imagine interacting like that. What would your relationship be like? What would your families be like? If you're a leader of a team, what would that team feel like when everybody is living in that space? In the human body, we have optimal health, we have peak performance when every single cell in our body is just lit up, super healthy, but connecting with all the other healthy cells in the body. That creates longevity, that creates performance. And if we think about humanity, when we think of our families, when we think of our communities as these living and breathing organisms, that we are merely just cells, that's what I want for the world. For each and every one of us to be these individual cells that are fully vital, fully serving, that is connected so that humanity could rise, so that humanity can be at its next potential as well. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I apologize if today's a little bit scattered because I'm just going off the cuff. I'm just thinking about this now because it's my birthday. And I am so honored and humbled about where life is and the challenges that has been presented to me in my life so that I could overcome them to remember who I am. And so wherever you are, whatever you are in life, in terms of your health, in terms of your career, if you're not at a place that you feel is most aligned yet, if you see this version or feel this version of you that you could potentially be, but you're not quite there, just know this, that you listening and watching this right now knows that there's something deeper within you, and it is in you. You just have to brush off the stuff that's clouding you from being able to see and embody that version of you. So thanks for being on this podcast, because I'm at least going to give you a technique to remember so that you could remember who you truly are. And that remembering process gives you access to the machinery that is human performance and human potential. Just a quick update on life. The past year and a half, I've been doing deep inner work, energetic work. I've been studying with a shaman, guru, healer, so to speak. And personally, I was actually at a place where career was doing really, really well, but my relationship wasn't doing very well. I've been together with my fiance for 5 years, and it's been very difficult for me to seal the deal or to commit to her because I needed for her to change. There were behaviors that didn't make me feel safe until I recognized the beauty of this perfect relationship that allowed me to actually create the safe space within myself and her for us to evolve and elevate. And so, so much of the work that I do with organizations and corporations is doing this deeper work of allowing people to remember, of basically wiping off the filters of our life that put us in stress and anxiety and resentment, to be able to come back to that. And an update, I finally, during the last retreat I had in Bali, got into a place where I just felt love so much. And that love isn't something that's out there. That love is like deep within us, that we have access to in any moment in time. And when we can't feel it, there is some distortion, something that's blocking our ability to feel that. And that is generally some kind of old limiting belief, some old lie, something that we took on in our childhood, these filters that we see the world through that doesn't allow us to feel that way. These filters basically block our ability for us to step into who we really are. These filters basically take in information from the outside world saying, oh man, I need X amount in my bank account. I'm not looking like this. I'm not looking like that. All these beliefs are filtering these emotions of stress, worry, anxiety, fear, that has us constantly striving, constantly having to prove. And what we're doing unconsciously in that space, and which is what I was doing as a hustling doctor, was giving my cells the signals of stress and danger. And epigenetics teaches us that energetic environment will basically turn on genes of inflammation that would turn off genes for immunity. That really becomes the root cause of all diseases. All diseases are the way it is because the energetic environment of our body is giving our cells the signals of danger. And when our cells aren't performing very well, guess what? Cells form tissues, form organs, form systems that form who we are. And so when we have these suboptimal cells, eventually it will create suboptimal systems. It will create dis-ease in our body. So being in those states of stress, worry, anxiety, fear, living through life through these filters that are not us, created disease in my body. And it's been a process of remembering, of removing, and of healing some of that stuff, which is my, life's journey. And I will continue to share with you the stuff that I've been doing to help me in that process. Now, if you ever want a tool or a resource for this, I've actually created a digital AI version of myself. You could ask it questions of performance, of longevity, When you have free access to that, simply go to my Instagram page at Dr. VMD. Go to my link tree. It's the first link in my bio and get free access to that. I believe the website is mythrivestate.com/biohack. So check that out. And if you want some additional free resources, you could also check out my resource bundle at thrivestatestarter.com. Those are just resources for you to give you an idea of the things that you should be aware of in your life. Are you consciously or unconsciously living in such a way in these particular areas of life, which I share with you in my resource guide, because that ultimately determines your energetic state. And again, your energetic state determines the messages that you give to your cells. And the messages those cells receive will ultimately determine whether you are chronically fatigued, tired, have joint pain, have all these issues, versus living a life where you are full of energy, happy, thriving, and performing at your very best. Now, I'm actually traveling right now. I'm actually doing a week of interventional radiology at the hospital. And a lot of times I speak of the limitations of conventional medicine, but I'm not saying it to poo-poo conventional medicine. I do believe it has its role. In fact, 2 times this week, on Monday and today, there was a blood clot that flew up someone's leg that lodged into the heart. Now, I don't know of an energetic healer that can dissolve that clot right away. There may be some, there may not be some, but conventional medicine does very, very well in these acute phase instances. And what I did was I actually got into the vein that goes up into the heart and took out a big suction device and sucked out the clot so that it wouldn't clog the heart or make the heart stop. And so that was something that conventional medicine played a very, very big role. And I was really fortunate to be able to save 2 people's lives doing that. And so I don't poo-poo conventional medicine. It does great for acute instances, and it works on the physical layer of energy in our body, and it plays a big role. But the other layer is also sort of the emotional energy, the mental energy, all these other energies that suddenly basically becomes the environment of this entire ecosystem. So if you take a look at any ecosystem, whether it be a rainforest, whether it be an aquarium, let's use an aquarium, for example. That's the aquarium. If you think of an aquarium, if you just think of the health of the aquarium, if you give it enough sunshine, enough nutrients in the water, you have thriving fish that will swim around. But all of a sudden, if you heat up the aquarium, if you start poisoning the aquarium, you change its environment, over time, those fish aren't going to be thriving, and you kill off that entire ecosystem. That's what's happening in our bodies, and that's what's happening in the world around us, is what is the energy we're living from. And so I just wanted to give you a technique that, or at least a mindset shift that I've been applying more and more into my life. And that is something that has changed it so much. And it's my birthday. And lately I've just recognized what a gift it is to be alive. I don't know if you know, but I nearly lost my daughter because she was born with a cord wrapped around her neck. That moment there just really made me, realize just how lucky we are to be alive, how lucky we are to breathe and to have this breath. And everything in life, this moment that we're sharing together digitally right now, we get to have this moment. With every breath we have, we get to. There are struggles, there are challenges, there are obstacles, but I can guarantee you right now that every single one of those things are gifted to us so that we can grow, so that we can evolve, for us to be stronger, for us to become more resilient. They are like the weights of our soul's gym. And if we can remember that we get to, Every time we're stressed, every time we're anxious, every time something's not working out, because remember, those feelings create the environment for our cells. So being in those feelings will give our cells the signals of danger, which creates inflammation, which drops our immune system. And just remember, each one of those feelings occur because there is something that we picked up, some limiting belief, some false story, some version of, I'm not loved, I'm not safe, I'm not connected. Many people call this space the ego or the default mode network. And living in that space ultimately creates disease in our body. It ultimately destroys relationships. It ultimately allows us not to evolve or feel free in life. And so if you want to do some more of this deeper work, continue to follow me on Instagram, or again, talk to my AI by going to mythrivestate.com/biohack to get free access to that. But I want you to just remember that we get to. If you remember that this breath is sacred, that because we have this breath, we have access to the thing that has made us who we are, this body, this vessel that is so amazing. I mean, if you could study the human body and just see how all these organs and cells work together, you'll be, oh my God, this is amazing. So how do we make the impossible possible? Just remember, we are it. We are the impossible. But yet we're possible. We exist. We have this breath. And so if you remember that we get to with this breath. Just breathe in, we get to. It's going to shift your life. And if you could see, every time you get triggered, you want to point the finger at something outside of you that's making you feel a certain way. Oh, remember, it's a blessing. It's shining a light to those spots in your lenses where you're not able to see the beauty of life. It allows you to see where those old programs, those limiting beliefs are, so you could heal them. My friends, the true medicine is remembering who we are. The true medicine is remembering that we are safe, that we are loved, and that we are connected. I just want to leave you with, use this hack, use this technique, use this mind shift. Deep breath in. Remember, we get to. My friends, you are your best medicine. Thank you again. Thank you for sharing my birthday with me. We'll see you again real soon. I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Thrive State podcast. And if you're finding that this content is really helping you and your family members, please consider supporting our mission and our cause of elevating health, happiness, and human potential for people all over the world. You can do so by making sure that you subscribe to this podcast, sharing it with your friends and family members, and leaving us a 5-star review wherever podcasts are heard. All these things are going to really help elevate the show and to give us the resources to continue to bring more content just like this to yourself as well as the people that you love. If you haven't already, you might want to consider joining our community. We actually have a community where people get to engage with me in group sessions where we do breath work, meditation, where we do challenges together, really to be able to get us access to health, happiness, human potential, so that we could have longevity and performance in our life as well. You can check out our community at mythrivestate.com. That's mythrivestate.com. And if you haven't already, pick up a copy of my book, Thrive State. It really gives you all the tools, the pillars that you need to create a blueprint to control the energetics of your life. Who are you? How you show up in the world? The choices that you consistently make create an energy in your body, and you can control this. And when you can control that, you also control the messages you give to your DNA that gives you access, again, to optimal health, longevity, and peak performance. And let me also just share a free gift to you. If you haven't already, please pick up my longevity and performance bundle where I share lecture notes, ebooks, breathwork exercises, and longevity and performance resources at thrivestatestarter.com. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. Thank you for helping us grow. Remember always, my friends, that you are your best medicine.